The discovery of Q fever, Q for query, not Queensland fever, was made by Edward Derrick, and he collaborated with Macfarlane Burnett. And Derrick, from this collaboration, realised the importance of an institute, a medical research institute, and realised that Queensland needed such an institute, particularly to investigate the fevers of North Queensland with the infectious diseases. So he went to the Queensland government, basically, and explained the need. And the Queensland government bought the idea. Of course, they had no money for the building, so they put him in the huts built by General Douglas MacArthur at the US Armed Forces Fleet at the Victoria Park. They were pretty horrendous conditions for medical research. The floors weren't even. The centrifuges had some difficulty, but by and large they managed, they pulled through. I believe they were told that these huts would last about 5 years and then they'd get a building, but in fact those huts lasted 30 years.
In the 60 plus years since that time, the Institute has evolved considerably and has now world-standing expertise and delivery on a number of research areas, including cancer research, for example. So from very small beginnings, with a focus on infectious diseases, the Institute has broadened its research program but bedrocked it all the way through.
Well, I suppose its greatest success overall has been its growth and its firm establishment as a world-class medical research institute in the global arena, not just the Australian arena. So it's a Queensland, it's a high point in Queensland, outstanding. But it's also recognised nationally as one of the top Australian institutes and recognised internationally.
A place like QIMR is successful because it's not a hard-nosed place in a commercial sense like that. We do realise that we have people who are creative, who have great ideas, and sometimes the very nature of creativity is such that the ideas might seem way out, wacky almost. And it's difficult for funders to sometimes come to the party and say, well, you're asking me a bit to support this. It seems almost unbelievable. But the history of good people is that their creative ideas more often than not are worth supporting. And what we see is when you do support people through the lean times, guess what? They always come back and deliver much, much more in the future. That sort of wonderful tradition of working on a particular infectious disease or a virus or a parasite for many, 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 many years and sticking at it and drilling down further and further and further is, I think, what has given QIMR its enormous reputation in this field. I always say to the public, we the scientists and research community can't survive without you, and you can't achieve your great goals and ambitions for your family, your grandchildren, your neighbours without our support. So it's a great partnership. Again, one of the strengths of an organisation like QIMR is the ability to broaden its research funding base. QIMR has made a commitment to commercialisation of research, and we have to. We interact a lot with industry in terms of research that they're interested in doing, but providing it fits our research agenda. It's not just us saying, we'll do whatever you want to do. It's a dialogue and saying, they've got an idea they want to test, we're interested in that scientifically, they'll give us funding to do that. At the end of the day, we demand and insist that we have the right to publish that as we see fit in the international journals, which we do. Now let's be straight about this. Scientists don't earn mega salaries. So why are they in the game? There's two reasons only that I believe are true. One is they're curious. They're curious about nature. And if you're not curious about nature, you really probably aren't going to be all that successful. So that's one important thing. The other important thing is, and I truly believe this to be so important, is you have to have a willingness to make a difference in terms of making this a better world. That was a thing to me, is to make a difference, a great difference to not just to Australia. I think the beauty about science is it's a global endeavour. We're not thinking about Queensland per se, Australia per se. We're thinking about people around the world, and it's a wonderful profession. It's a wonderful career. It's all-consuming.